Joining us now is Senate Majority Leader John Thune. Here's the quote from the reporter writing that Trump did not give a precise time range for how long the United States would remain in Venezuela's political overlord. Would it be 3 months, 6 months, a year, longer? I would say much longer, the president replied. I guess no one really knows at this point, but the War Powers Resolution, what is the goal of that, and how do you think the vote will go?
Well, what they're attempting, it's a political vote, Dana. This is the Democrats trying to, poke the president, and I hope that we have the votes to defeat it. What the president did there is something that's supported broadly, not just by folks here in Washington, D.C., but across the country, because Maduro was leading a drug cartel that was poisoning literally thousands of Americans every single year. And so bringing him to justice is a worthwhile goal, and congratulate the men and women in uniform and of course in our intelligence community and the President of the United States for taking the kind of action that was necessary to get him here in this country where he's going to have to stand up for himself in court.
One of the senators on the Democratic side, after the briefing that he got from Marco Rubio yesterday, was not impressed. Here's what Chris Murphy said.
This is an insane plan. They are talking about stealing the Venezuelan oil at gunpoint for a period of time undefined as leverage to micromanage the country. We learned a lot. I'm glad we had the briefing, but this is going to be a very, very rough ride for the United States.
What do you make of the phrase stealing the oil?
Well, it's the Chinese and the Russians, Dana, who are stealing Venezuelan oil. What the president is attempting to do is to get this country to where, again, it benefits from Venezuelan energy production. And the United States, I think, can play an important role because of the economic leverage we have there to lessen this reliance and dependence that Venezuela has on Russia and China, and the malign influence that they're creating in this hemisphere, which creates a national security threat to the United States, but also liberates the people of Venezuela. I mean, they've been held hostage now by Maduro, and they aren't getting the benefit, their economy there, or the people, from these vast resources that they have available to them. So I think the president, Secretary Rubio, the plan that they've laid out makes a lot of sense, not only for this hemisphere in terms of the security of the hemisphere, and particularly the United States, but also the people of Venezuela, who desperately need to be liberated from this regime they've had to live under for the past many years.
Is it your sense that there are American oil companies who, many of them, the executives will meet with the president tomorrow? Do you think that they will be ready and able to go in and get over their concerns about rule of law and dilapidated infrastructure in order to go in and start pumping oil?
I think that will depend largely on circumstances on the ground, which I think is what the president is trying to suggest. We need to be supportive of a government there, and hopefully free and fair elections in the not too distant future, where there's stability there, because I think these companies are willing to invest. But yes, they're going to be looking at rule of law. They're going to be looking whether or not those investments are going to be protected, and I think that's an important question to answer for them, and one that the president and his team right now are trying to give definitive answers for, so that that investment can get underway.
Let me to ask you one thing about the breaking news that we are seeing out of Minneapolis this morning. Of course, we had the woman killed yesterday, the protester. There is an investigation into exactly what happened, but the Department of Homeland Security has said she was using her vehicle as a weapon. You had her shot then by an officer, and now that investigation continues. But right now you have protests erupting in that city, and you are probably going to see more of this across the country. What would you recommend can be done to either de-escalate this, or to try to explain to the American people that ICE is there lawfully and impeding them is a federal offense?
Right. Well, and it was a tragic loss of life, Dana, and unnecessary. But what happened there is an indication of the uptick that we're seeing across the country in these protesters starting to attack ICE officers, law enforcement officers who are trying to lawfully enforce immigration law. And so political leaders, mayors, governors in some of these cities, red or blue, need to make sure that they are sending a message out there that protest and protesters need to act in accordance with our laws. And when you cross lines, there's obviously going to be consequence. And clearly, in a situation like this, you've got people who are trying to do a job. And we support, respect these law enforcement officers, ICE, Border Patrol, all across the country. Law Enforcement Day is tomorrow. And they need to know that the people of this country and their elected leaders are going to stand with them as they do a job that they're being asked to do, and frankly, a job that the American president, President Trump, was elected to deliver for the American people.
I will say in the last 20 minutes, it seems that there are more federal officers on the scene, and it looks a lot more calm than it did just even 30 minutes ago. I know that you're headed to the border. You'll be talking that issue and working on Senate races. You're a busy guy, and it was your birthday yesterday, so we wish you a happy birthday. Thanks for coming
Dana,
on the show.
Much appreciated. Yep, you bet. See ya.